Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Hallelujah Jingati drink and Hallelujah Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Hallelujah Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Hallelujah from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Now, yesterday, Sunday, at least was a day where we did remember the Assumption of Mother Mary into heaven. Now, mostly by Catholics, it causes us to reflect on how the souls of humanity will move into the places of their destiny. And of course, growing up as a young man who was in Catholic Church, much I learned about the Assumption of Mary. And among the things that I learned is that on this day, Mother Mary picks some of the spirits in purgatory. Now, if you know what purgatory is, it's the place where, of course, we do fine-tuning of the souls. There's, of course, we believe in Catholic faith that there is heaven, there's purgatory, and of course, there's hell. So people, the souls in purgatory, are going through some sort of fine-tuning. Well, of course, yesterday it was a celebration of the Assumption of Mother Mary into heaven, and of course, upon her Assumption, she became the Queen of Heaven. In Uganda, we used to call it, or we call it the Namasole Weggulu. But that would mean that today, many souls have been taken to heaven. Now we're here also to take you into the place where you do enjoy your current affairs, things that also matter, and much more of the things that are leading in the spectrum of news, sports. You could look at entertainment, also traffic and weather. Guess what? I don't do this alone. I do it with my colleagues, that is Priscilla and Robert, and I can't be more happy than to say good morning to you, Priscilla.
Good morning to you, Felix Nkunda. So happy to have you back on Good Morning Uganda. You were surely missed. Now, wow. You have spoken about purgatory. I know it in Uganda, purgatory. Yeah. Purgatory. It's a very, very interesting analogy. I didn't know, but now it's a new morning and I've learned something new. My name is Priscilla Naloga and welcome aboard Good Morning Uganda into our third week of August 2021, 16th day of August, and this draws us closer to the end of the month because now we are halfway there. So are we halfway there in terms of the year? And you had plans. Yes, there was lockdown. So what? This is going to be part of life. So the sooner we adapt and we go back to the drawing board and do what we were supposed to be doing, the better. I mean, we are doing what we're supposed to be doing every single morning. And we are joined by Robert Kirabo. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning to you, Priscilla. Good morning, Felix. Happy to have you back. And of course, good morning to you, our viewers. We treasure you and we are humbled and honored every morning when you wake up and you're with us on UBC TV. Well, welcome back also from the weekend. Priscilla talked about people adjusting. I must accept that yes, Ugandans over time, they're learning how to make ways meet at such a time of the pandemic. And yes, now the weekend mood is day by day coming up in many lives of the people. But welcome to this new week. And of course, many have gone. You're still alive because there is a purpose. This is a new week to again begin on your journey of discovering or living a purposeful life. Well, this is going to be a very interesting week, Priscilla and Felix. Today we are seeing electoral petitions That is, the judges of the High Court are going to be sitting various parts of this country. Who will stay? Who will eventually be declared winner? That is when it comes to these court petitions. Remember, 155 members of parliament have passed before this court, and justice will be delivered. So who will stay, who will make it? It's going to be a very interesting week.
Well, of course, one would also ask, Robert, that the true definition of justice, is it what lies in what court offers, or what the sensations of the result of what people expect? Maybe I'll start with you, Priscilla. Justice, in your eyes, what would you term as justice? Because as I asked last week, we had the same discussion, and the question is, whose justice is sought? Is it the justice for the contendant or the justice for the electorate?
I think it's justice for the judiciary, really, because the rate at which they take their time to actually deal with these cases and close these files is in favor of them. By the time it's supposed to be in favor either of the contender or to whom it's supposed to serve and help, time has passed, it's already too late, and you cannot turn around the wheels of time. So that's my opinion.
Well, first, I'll also push that question to our guest today, who happens to be the spokesperson of the judiciary. That is in Good Morning Uganda agenda. So please do not miss. Jameson Karimari will be here with us, and will be throwing more light on what is going to happen and why are we there. But I want to believe that it's justice for the voters. Justice for the voters, if done in a proper manner. Because if someone robbed their victory, either they didn't have the qualifications, or there was bribery, or there was a way he messed with the process, and if actually that person is removed from parliament in time, then that will have been justice to the voter who had to forego rain, sunshine, that scorching sunshine, in the name of getting the right person elected into that office. For me, it's justice for the voters.
Well, of course, speaking about justice, we also want to do justice to you this morning, where we want to share with you all the stories that did happen throughout the week, but also to bring to you much of the highlights of what's happening in the world. On top of that, we also want to tell you that there's no better way you would do justice to yourself by starting your day with Hallelujah ginger tea drink and Hallelujah tamarind drink. Now, continuously, we have said these drinks will help you boost your immunity, and that is key in times like this where everyone is rushing out to find a way to fight against COVID-19. But also follow us on all our social media platforms, that is on Facebook, on Twitter, and of course you can catch us live on YouTube. But also do not forget to make comment on our that is poll question, again on all our social media platforms. Now the question will be flashing on your screen quite soon, and of course we would expect you guys to start preparing your feedback. But also share with us, what is justice in the sense of all these things that are going on? But don't forgetting, the president came out and made some clerical information just at the end of last week, which will be our discourse much later. Me, Robert, and Priscilla will be sharing our true sentiments and how the same will affect this beautiful country henceforth. But Robert, Priscilla will be taking you through local stories, and I will be taking you through international stories later.
And we'll begin with what is happening in Kasese on a very unfortunate incident where we saw a life lost after River Nyamamba burst. One person has been confirmed dead following flash floods in the five rivers in Kasese burst their banks. The State Minister for Information in charge of ICT, Fred Kabyanga, said police is still searching for the deceased person. The minister said the deceased person was a tourist guide who had gone to get food for tourists but failed to return when rivers burst. That is, as he was trying to get them food as they were at Mountain Rwenzori. Other rivers that have burst their banks are Nyamugasani, Mubuku, Irumbihira, and Remizi, which have also burst their banks and caused destruction. This is the third time the rivers are flooding in less than a year.
Uganda Revenue Authority has committed to regulating importation of used vehicles to prevent both health and economic shortcomings that come with it. The Commissioner General URA John Musinguzi Richoji says vehicles beyond 15 years are not allowed in the country, a position recently taken by government. Musinguzi agrees with President Yoweri Museveni, who, while laying a foundation stone for Kirabo motor vehicles manufacturing plant, attributed increased air pollution on old imported cars. President Yoweri Museveni has raised concern in regards to importation of used vehicles just moments after laying the foundation stone. He was apparently concerned that used vehicles were continuously being imported into the country to the disadvantage of Ugandans. Citing health and economic challenges, Uganda's Revenue Collection Body Commissioner General John Musinguzi shared similar concerns. An estimated $550 million is spent on importation of used motor vehicles in Uganda annually.
Away from URA and banning old used vehicles, about 15 years of manufacturing, we now head to the plight of teachers, where private teachers want government to bail them out, as was the case with the entertainment industry. Teachers said they are struggling to make a living, and most of them have turned to bricklaying and chapati making to earn a living. Wachiso Teachers Union are crying out for the bail out during this lockdown time. They said the banks are taking over their schools, as most of them are on loans. Teachers want government to bail them out like it was with the entertainment industry. They claim that the profession has become a laughing stock. The teachers poured out their issues at a media briefing held at their liaison's office in Kampala. They want government to support them with a financial package so that they are saved from the poor conditions they have sunk into since the pandemic broke out in the country.
And finally, on the local scene, Mulago National Referral Hospital has a state-of-the-art laboratory service set to international standards, but the only challenge is that poor turn-up of users. A tour of the lab facility is indicative of a glaring, underutilized modern facility. Medical research across the globe is constantly pushing the boundaries of healthcare and redefining what isn't possible. It is from the backdrop that Mulago Hospital is continuously updating its equipment and services in order to offer the latest in high-tech medical care. The lab provides chemistry, cytology, hematology, microbiology, and also molecular diagnostics testing services, among others. The laboratory superintendent says that National Hospital deploys new technology as they strive to deliver the most accurate and timely test results possible. Laboratory services determine up to about 70% of the diagnostics that a clinician needs to work with, so lab technicians urge public to seek lab services whenever they fall ill.
Well, of course, in addition to much of the stories that did happen throughout the weekend, we'll also top it up with what's happening international stories. Now, we'll start off with Taliban's taking over Afghan city. Quite sad, but the reality of the same. While we see the Taliban swept into Afghanistan's capital after the government collapsed and embattled president joined an exodus of his fellow citizens and foreigners, signaling the end of costly 2 decades U.S. campaign to remark the country. Now, heavily armed Taliban fighters fanned out of across the capital, and several entered Kabul, abandoned presidential palace, that is Suhai Sahim. The Taliban spokesperson, that is also negotiator, told the Associated Press that the militants would hold talks in coming days aimed at forming an open, inclusive Islamic government. The failure, that is much earlier, Taliban officials said the group would announce from the palace the restoration of the Islamic Emirates, Afghanistan, and formal name of the country under Taliban rule before the militants were ousted by US-led forces in a wake of, that is, a 9/11 attack, which were orchestrated by Al-Qaeda while it was being sheltered by Taliban. But the plan appeared to be on hold. Now, Kabul was gripping to panic. Helicopters raced ahead over the cities, and of course, the personnel on, they evacuated the personnel of the U.S. from the embassy. Smoke rose near the compound staff, and of course much evidence of destroyed documents and buildings is what is the scene of Afghanistan today. Now, crossing back to Africa, also about international stories, while we're looking at jailed former president, that is Jacob Zuma, undergoes surgery. And South Africa's jailed former president, Jacob Zuma, has undergone surgery and remains in hospital. Prison, officials came out to say. The 79-year-old due to have other procedures in coming days. Also is ailing with some sort of sickness, and there has been no word from the nature of the operations unlikely and when he will be discharged. Now, Zuma began serving 15-month sentence in July for contempt of court for failing to appear at an inquiry looking into allegations of corruption that was between 2009 and 2018. Now, his admission to hospital delayed the start of the separate corruption trial last week, and he's linked to at least $5 billion US. Now, still in Africa, we're looking at Zambia's opposition leader, that is Hichilema, wins presidential vote. Business tycoon and opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema was declared winner of Zambia's hotly contested presidential election, defeating incumbent Edgar Lungu. Now, with at least 155 of the 156 constituencies reporting, official results on Monday showed that Hichilema had secured at least 2,810 votes against Lungu's 1,800,000. Now, therefore declared, he said, Hakima Hichilema will be the president-elect of the Republic of Zambia, and the Electoral Commission chairman, that is Justice Esau Chulu, said in a televised address. The significance of this win will spark celebrations in the country, for much desired change has been a contestation evident in the people of Zambia. Well, quite one of the anomalies in Africa, where we see opposition leaders taking power in a free stance in a hot contested election. We do hope all this doesn't end up in tears. Again, do not forget to follow us on our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, but also catch us live on YouTube. Now, remember, we have a poll question which we'll be sharing with you very soon, and also our WhatsApp number where you can share with us your true sentiments about our show, any comment that you want to make. But rush and make comment on our daily poll, which is the Declaration of Human Rights in this country visible? Is the Declaration of Human Rights in this country visible? You can follow us again by sharing. You can share your sentiments on our Facebook page, on YouTube, but also on Twitter and on our WhatsApp numbers there. Be sure that Priscilla will be taking us through your feedback later. But right now, we'll take a break, have a song for the day. It is an all-time classic. I hope it does inspire your morning. And do not forget, COVID is real. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you mask up, wash your hands, follow all those SOPs, social distance, and also keep praying. Keep praying. It's key. Let's take a break. When we come back, Robert, myself, Priscilla will be dwelling into another analogy of human rights by the president.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by
Tulantende ku program obulamu
was brought to you by
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Echa COVID-19 kijja kuggwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Experience 100% Fuji speeds across Uganda with the Airtel Fuji Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000 shillings only. It comes with 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop, or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discover. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning to you once again. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda as we step into our 7 o'clock hour this morning. This is the time for Newsreel. My name is Priscilla Naloga. Delighted to be in your company as you start off not just a Monday but a brand new week. We want to have a reflection on the things that happened in the last 48 hours. Crucial of them is the presidential address that we saw on security and human rights, which is going to be our discourse, as Felix called it, this morning. But taking a look at some of your messages that are coming through with us this morning, we do have a message coming through here. If you're sending your message, by the way, please do leave your name. Leave us with your name, because it's hard to read the message and then not know where you are writing us from, and also your name. So let us know where you live and what your name is. Good morning, Felix, Priscilla, and Robert. Cricket Derek Gagamel from Machin Yeduafu. I think justice briefly is holding people accountable for the wrongs or the crime that they have done. Thanks for the show. I'm always on every morning. Mututu Mirako. So please, dear Felix and company, Mutumire ku Derek.
From much India. Oh, thank you so much for watching.
Okay, all right. So we're going to be having a conversation in this direction, but we do have our poll question for this morning, which is going to be appearing on your screen, and we ask that you respond to it. Is the Declaration of Human Rights in this country visible? Is the Declaration of Human Rights in this country visible? Hashtag UBCGMU. You can send us a response on our Twitter handle, which is at UBCTV Uganda. But also the WhatsApp line that is appearing on your screen would be the best place for you to respond to it. Robert and Felix joining me for the newsreel, reflecting on Saturday. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, president to Uganda, had a national address. This time it was not about COVID-19, but about security and the human rights. And he went ahead to actually retaliate some statements. And he mentioned something that caught my attention and got my eyes glaring, of no officer of the law should kill anybody, whatsoever the reason. And most especially during the lockdown, we saw these cases arising and the human rights of Ugandans being abused. And that was part of his discussion and what he relayed to the nation. Now, speaking of human rights, some of us maybe not understand what is human rights, who it benefits. Is it a right to everyone as a citizen of Uganda, or is it limited to certain people of certain caliber or status for that matter? So I will start with the man of the law, Felix Nkunda. We want to first understand what is human rights and who actually upholds the human right.
Well, human rights, if you want to take a layman's appreciation, we definitely have a combination of two words, human and rights. If you want to take it on that spectrum, that human is anything that has living a life, as if there's living death.
You just did tell us the spirit guide to your soul.
Yeah, by the way. Yeah, but it's as long as someone is in the definition of being human, they entirely carry a right. Now, it also springs back to the normative of what we used to call Ubuntu. The Ubuntu principles that emanated from the Bantu again, which must be upholded in respect of any human livelihood. Now, that would mean that for anything that is natural cannot be treated unnaturally. For example, and that's how you come up with a normative of torture, that because the acts of torture treat a natural person unnaturally, that's why it becomes against human rights. So human rights are basically those liberties, enjoyments that we enjoy freely and not from any form of grant from any institution. And if you want to go deeper into human rights law, one will add and say that these are those rights that are inherent by virtue of being a human being. You acquire those rights. So they are inherent. As long as you're born, you have those rights. For example, a right to life. No one should be taken away, has a right to take away your life. You have a right to food. You have a right, like first when you go practice in a law, then of course the state can add on them, like things like right to education. Now those are quite secondary, but the major principles of human rights are those that appreciate you as a human and those that make you still stay in the form of a human. That's why the concrete of the same is like the right to life. That's why the president was emphasizing you can't kill someone. When it came to torture, he was talking about, why do you torture someone? Because you know what is engaged in torture? It means there's going to inflict pain, people are cutting off their hands, nails, all those things. So that would then be inhuman, and because that's then defeating the purpose of human rights. So basically, human rights are these rights, are those enjoyments, are those feelings, sentiments that we enjoy by the virtue of being human. So anything that makes you feel inhuman or non-human is abuse of the right of being human, which makes it an attack on your human right. I don't know if I make sense that way.
Okay, all right. Now I will turn to Robert. He has talked about the right to life, and no one has the power to actually take it away from you. Yeah. Let's just have a reflection from pre-elections, during elections, post-elections. We've seen these cases rising on an alarming rate. In November, we had the November riots that had over 50 people's human rights abused and life lost in that regard. Thereafter, there was a season of the drones. People were picked up, they disappear. You had a season whereby people in communities were uprooted from the communities and they disappeared. And to this day, there's some people who have not yet received their loved ones back because some security forces came and took them. Lord knows where they are today. You have prisoners of the political season that we went through elections and how they were tortured in a manner in which that is demeaning of the human right. So we look at this word torture and how best can we eliminate torture in such cases?
Well, thank you, Priscilla, and of course, Felix, for that rich definition of human rights. First and foremost, we must understand that Uganda, when it comes to the legal regime, we lack nothing. We have everything. The only thing has been implementation. For example, in 2012, we passed the Prevention and Prohibition of Torture Act that clearly stipulates that torture is a crime in Uganda. It criminalizes torture, and also one of the things it brings out properly is it personalizes. That when Felix Nkunda, office of SFC or military officer, tortures a person, it's not the institution. He's held accountable. But that also goes further to bring in compensation. And for me, when I saw His Excellency, that was Saturday, with this sweet, very interesting speech, it reminded me of this day. I remember it was a Monday, and that was Monday, the year was 2019. And that was at the Uganda Human Rights Commission headquarters, when the late chairperson, that is Medikagwa, was pushing government to pay over 5 billion, Priscilla, 5 billion in terms of compensation to torture victims. Now, what does that mean to the economy of Uganda? 5 billion we are paying for people who acted irresponsible, people who decided to torture others. So, the law side, we have the laws. It's all about implementation. That is one. How best can we ensure we eliminate this? First and foremost, if you have the laws, now let's hold people accountable. If you are going to see people arrested, I want to tell you, Priscilla, the president wrote a letter that was on May 15th, 2017 to security agencies, showing his dissatisfaction, reminding them that this is a crime. To date, how many have you held accountable? So as long as people are going to commit these offenses, and then majestically walk away. You know the reason of punishment. Felix will also allude to this fact. There must be a deterrent way to deter others from committing this. Then second, also need to upgrade our technologies. His Excellency was talking about using torture to extract, that is evidence, information. Why do our security officers still take this route? Despite some of them, they know it is illegal, and of course, even our laws make this illegal. One, we lack modern technologies. When talked about the Kawesi murder, and he talked about the attempted assassination of the life of General Katumba Amara, now we have CCTV cameras. But the time I've spent studying issues of crime, investigation, and all that, where I have great passion, one of the key tools in fighting crime in modern civility is having a DNA bank, which we do not have in Uganda. Where, Priscilla, if a crime is committed, yes, we have a forensic lab, but there's still so much wanting that the investigative officers will just come at the scene, pick maybe fingerprints or anything, just go to the DNA bank, then match this, and we shall know this is a Priscilla Naroga, she stays here, this is a Felix Nkunda. So at the end of the day, it's not this try and error thing that eventually, maybe somehow, because criminals are criminals. At times, some of them are so core.
Okay.
That is why you remember that even America reached a time of having Guantanamo Bay. This was more of a torture center. But you see, if you've not upped the game in terms of technologies that would save this, there could be high chances that torture will still prevail.
Thank you so much, Robert. We do have a different nature of responding to things here in Africa, or in third world countries for that matter. We are more reactive than active in preparation for, you know, the eventualities. You have talked about the CCTV cameras that came after the death of Afande Kawesi. After the attempted assassination on General Katumba Wamala, we had the trackers, car trackers coming through. That is reactive response to the, you know, the insecurity and the things that come around that. In developed countries, we have it the other way around. They are always prepared, and it doesn't take a big incident. A small incident will require that, okay, now let us adopt police uniforms that have cameras so that we can understand exactly how this happened or how a human right was infringed from the perspective of the officer's eyes, you know. So in terms of professionalizing security, law enforcement groups, agencies, and organizations in this country, how can we be able to actually change from reactive to active?
Yeah, Priscilla, you see, the discussion about professionalizing security agencies is quite lengthy because it touches very, very sensitive matters. But the brim of the same is the true definition of the kind of society you breed, because it is simply a reflection of the kind of society. And the society is backed up by the ability of the nation. Why am I saying that? You want to talk of professional policing in a third world country. One, policing is entirely a psychological thing. And that's the start of it. Security entirely is psychological. That's why when you see some of these checks which we pass through, people don't need to have guns. It even starts with how someone looks at you. And then, you know, all these things. Now, the reverse of that is what we have in third world countries. That the institutions do not focus on the psychological aspect of security, but rather focus on the physical.
The enforcement.
You get it. The reason why the president came out, from what he said, I may not know the reason he came out, but from what he said, is the evidence of what I'm saying. You get it? That we have a physical security force, and we are not discussing a international or a cross-border force. We're talking about internal enforcement that could be against wananchi citizens, whether even guilty or not, because that has not yet been proved by courts. So this, what is the intention of policing? And that is the start. If you remember, at some point in different seasons, police officers are given manuals. If you remember, there's even a time back they gave them a manual to what, I didn't remember, elections or something. The intention, you see, it starts with the intention. What is the intention? What does the institution of police live for? Tell you me, the police has tremendous people. Kirabo has rubbed shoulders with police for a long time. It has very good people, but it has very bad people as well. You get the point. So on a general spectrum, when you talk about enforcement institutions in the country and you talk about police and professionalism, you'll get to understand that in as much as the institution is alive and running, it has what we call interdicting challenges that cannot allow it to be a professional institution. And the very first one is welfare. Secondly, it is a civilized institution. And for me, that is the biggest problem. That is because of the civility level of the institution. For example, you see a Afande Kirabo drinking with a local thief in a bar. He may not know. And it's not that he drinks with him because he's a thief or what, but he doesn't know. The civility level of this institution defeats everything. Kirabo, Afande Kirabo would want a nice Benz, just like the one Priscilla owns, because of the civility levels, and which is not the same with the army. The army is not entangled with civilians. It's not integral. So they have different desires. I'm a person. How many army people do you know who drive Benz cars? But how many? How many policemen do you know?
I got a number.
Primos are like they are like police cars. Every
they own
they're called what? CP, OC, DP. Primos, they made that car for police officers. But what am I saying? That this civility defeats that now. Once people start relating, in Uganda, I would use the word that kamanyiro. That's it. Now, these people bemanyide, and that is the problem. A policeman is cutting a deal, a civilian is cutting with a civilian,
so
and yet
Felix,
he has to
then
come.
I get to ask myself a question: what is the role of professional, policing in nation building?
Okay. Now, from what I've been saying, when you have a professional policing team, you see the purpose of police primarily is to first and foremost to guard the people, protect these people, anticipate crime, and curb it. Like that's primarily it. Now, if these things are not done in the right path of enforcement, everything else is lost. One, where you have police on sleep, it means that you have criminality. Now, the rising of criminality causes political instability. Politics is the key to almost all other sectors. I can give you a scenario. There was a time where we used to have a barua. You remember? Very many places. Do you know the effect of that on the economy then? That I remember in Entebbe, people who used to go to the landing sites, Emiaro, would not go. They say, tetukyakera kuki kugenda ku myalo tugenda ssaawa ssatu, because batema abaki abavu. Now, that alone, if you work backward, it cuts dearly and greatly. Remember the issue you had, the women who were being killed?
That is, yes, in Entebbe massacre.
Look at the effect of poor policing on the international. There's a time a Minister of Investment blatantly came out and said that we are not safe, I am not safe. Now, people who are coming to invest in this country, they don't only look out for market, they look out for security. How secure? Because guess what? He's going to come here, maybe him and family. Why do you think people don't, in countries have not invested greatly in countries like Congo? Even, by the way, sadly, countries like South Africa are registering a low investment level because of insecurity. People are being killed on streets. Like the xenophobia. What was the effect of xenophobia on investment in a country like South Africa? You saw what happened about the riots. Now, if those things are not well policed, no one is going to invest in your country. It will work back to revenue, it will work back to regional stability, and integration will fail. Lastly, you remember 2007, the riot in Kenya? Its effect on East African community. Kenyan people's goods were being... So security is key in nation building because it is the ultimate guarantee of to build confidence in whoever would want to invest, whether locally or internationally.
Kirabo, the vision for police is a crime-free society, which we all know that that's very hard to achieve. But then their mission is to secure life and property in partnership with the public in committed and professional manner in order to promote development, which is something that Felix has broadly said. Now it begs the question, what is the role of the public in actually complementing professional policing in today's communities?
First and foremost, we must understand that it's you, an individual, your first line of security. Yes, as the police is meant to protect life and property, prevent and detect crime, you're the first agent or you're the first police officer, because we cannot have a policeman or a police officer at every spot in life. So one of the greatest roles of the public is to volunteer information. volunteer information so that you can cause police quick and timely response. So we would say a responsible citizen should avail information. Then also, away from availing information, a responsible citizen to help police fight crime, the various projects that you should participate in. For example, there was something that was very good. It was called Neighborhood Watch. The Mayumba Kumi, I think that was in the times of General Kaleka as the IGP of police, where after 10 households, they selected a leader there. And this person made sure they have the numbers of the nearest security officers in their region. So in case there's any problem, some had even formed WhatsApp numbers, and they would just, you go on your WhatsApp, group WhatsApp, Mayumba Kumi, hey, thieves are attacking me, we are seeing a person we not understand in our community, and quick response. So as supporting these programs and also ensuring that we volunteer information, I want to use the word volunteer information to police, then this is one of the ways that the public is being responsible enough. Things like murders would not take place. I remember one time when the spokesperson of CID said that, you know, we are looking for these people, but they stay within communities, and someone somewhere knows actually who these people are, but they're not volunteering information. That is why maybe sometimes you'll end up arresting wrong people, then have to apply torture to extract evidence and all this. So if the public perfects its art, then it's going to take a shorter time. Even sometimes giving witnesses when police finishes these files, all these are the challenges. But I believe the public has a great role to play, and once we do that, then we may not go to these extremes.
Okay. All right. And finally, Felix, the relationship between security and enforcement, there's relationship between security and investigation, and also the process of security into court appearances, and thereafter justice being served. How do we then move forward in that direction?
I remember even when I was a young lad, I used to be a very, by the way, small guy in university. Remember, and we used to go to these criminology classes by Counsel Adam Chirumida, and he used to tell us that a criminal case is not good enough, rather it is as good as its investigations. The courts will simply do what we call procedure, simply that. Counsel will come, will interrogate, examine in chief, rejoinder, all those things. But all those will be on the basis on what is being put in the file that has been sanctioned. What am I saying? A case is as good as an investigation. This whole discussion of backlog, by the way, where we have been blaming the judiciary, the backlog, 50% of the backlog is caused by bad investigations or no investigations. You get it? Now, that would mean that if you want to discuss justice as an analogy of society, be sure to confront the factual concept of investigation. Brings you back to what Robert said. How equipped is the institution or the institutions of police in terms of investigations? We have ever had a time in this country, I will not pick on two in particular, but when I talk about it, you understand, where we had people arrested, over 50 people for bullets. We don't know how that works. Like in the case of Kawesa, I don't know if there's anyone, Kirabo, you must have just survived with not being arrested.
You know what is funny? People were arrested, so many of them, and later government had to compensate them. Joan Kagezi, the DPP, said the people you've arrested, none of them, maybe they can take them on other crimes, but for this particular case,
relevant. They would have to look for other crimes if they want to.
That's the thing. Now, so you have 50 people. To a point where you arrest, then you look for crimes. So what should come before? Why are you putting the cart before the horse? You arrest Kirabo, then you start questioning yourself. Now,
we call it vetting.
That's the thing.
Let's arrest.
Now, arrest is the last thing, in my opinion. Of course, security will but arrest is the last thing after an investigation. Or an arrest must be part of the investigation. And that's criminology. And I know these guys know these things. Now, what you're asking, Priscilla, is that if you want to have And you see, jurisprudence of a country is not formed, is something that we never take serious. But for example, when you look around criminal law in this country, there's not much precedent you want to rely on in any court, by the way. And the reason is simple. It's because of poor investigations. And I can tell you that for some people who go to courts on a daily, you'll be challenged that you have nothing to relate to. When you talk about the case of, let's say, murder, you cannot say, you don't have a good precedent because the jurisprudence of criminal law has not been formed well due to poor or uncoordinated or unwell, because maybe there's not enough for them to do.
Okay, all right. Well, there's not much in time that we can have this conversation continuing, but it can continue on our social media platforms and on Twitter at UBC TV Uganda. While you're streaming with us on YouTube and Facebook, you can leave us your comment in this regard. The state of security in Uganda. We also have insecurity across the borders, especially Congo and South Sudan, and so for trading you have to be pretty much careful. We do have traders in South Sudan, Ugandan traders whose passport had expired, and so they're stuck at the internal office that side, but we hope that things will be cleared up for them. Just to remind you that you can actually enjoy a very wonderful drink every single morning. That is the Hallelujah Ginger Tea Drink. It does clear up your nostril and your throat, and it decongests everything that was clogged up in there to give you a nice breathing day. So try it out today. It's in every supermarket and kiosk next to you. We do return to you looking at the newspapers and what is making front page for the first day of a new week. Good morning.
Experience 100% Fuji speeds across Uganda with the Airtel Fuji Pocket Wi-Fi available at 123,000 shillings only. It comes with 15 GB free for 1 month. Visit the nearest Airtel shop, device selling shop, or Airtel online shop. www.airtel.co.ug/broadband-discover. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Echa COVID-19 kijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It is time we look at some of the stories that are in the print media. Of course, it is our mandate to ensure that as you start your day, you're well versed with what is happening, and that you can only get here in Good Morning Uganda. So make it a date every weekday from 6:30 till the hour of 9. We are here, and that is our biggest mandate. Spice up your morning with relevant, authentic information. I'm holding the New Vision, and on front page, a big headline there, 104 MPs battle to keep their seats, that is in Parliament. Remember, the D-Day is today when we are going to see a hearing of these petitions commence. Still, government to replan landing sites near oil fields. That is as we wait for the much anticipated oil exploration in our country. Then good news, Kirabo to build 170 buses per month. Well, I can't wait to see this turn into a reality. That is still there. Then we have 550 jobs there are for grab, and over 30 tender offers for you. The New Vision brings you more of that. But also scholarships. Government to start scheme for medics. Interviews more on page 6 and page 7 of the New Vision this morning. In the education column, Senior 4 Physics, Mathematics, Literature plus Senior 2 Biology and Chemistry are there for you so the students there. Home learning is one of the things we have to abide by at such a time to avoid the spread of COVID-19. Then the guest letters in the doc include, that is Honorable Kadaga, Honorable Muhwezi, among others. Yes, Felix.
Fagan President flees and Museveni dishonest on torture. That is, critics come out to say. Now, critics receive President Museveni's surprise address on security with a pinch of salt, wondering what had taken him so long to realize security forces just under his nose were high-handed handling suspects in custody. But also, ordained Bishop Semogere warns priests against corruption. I did know in church there is corruption. But that's another discussion. And of course, the Apostolic Administrator of Kampala Archdiocese, that is the Right Reverend Bishop Paul Semogere, prays with that is priests and deacons after ordaining them on Sunday at Rubaga Cathedral in Kampala. Bishop Semogere warned 17 priests and 18 deacons on dubious ways of getting money. Now, in beating COVID, moving to the village aided Kaija's recovery and health and living, we see their financial and mental stress, the ignored COVID-19 after effect. Now, Madi opposed president on upper land. Now, of course, still looking at the Daily Monitor, there we're looking at medical interns get big pay rise, and minister cited in Asian departed property saga. And of course, from the archives, we see here then former Minister of Health Jim Muhwezi greets nurses. Okay. Now, today in history, in 1975, the Army Battalion wins drum contest, and also in history, Bolt sets 100-meter dash world record. That's in August 2009.
In the New Vision, that is the second page, we look at the COVID tracker, where new confirmed cases 309. Hey, we are beginning to shoot up. Then positivity rate 5.7. Remember, by Friday we're about 4 point something. Looking at new death 19, where you had 8 by Friday, and total death now is 2,882. Please don't be part of these statistics. Symptoms: fever, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, and headache. Today in history, it was on this very day, but the year 2007, when homosexuals decried discrimination. Okay, still on the same date, Elvis Presley died at the age of 42. And this is the month of twins. So much is happening. But yes, later I'll ask my colleague a question after this regarding twins. Felix, in the world of sports.
Now in sports, a silverback stuck in AfroBasket cash hole. I don't know, this is quite, this thing, I don't know, I would really want to have a question to my brother Ruben about this whole silverback and how they are stuck, and then money. Anyway, Cheptegei talks of unfinished business, and Kisa, now Anomi saves Proline as Gaddafi crash Nyamitobora. But also, quite beautiful and interesting there, we see Bossa tips Eagles on dominancy after Sekafa triumph. Do not forget that also it is Express Motomoto Mkwano Gwabanji, my lovely team, finally won this cup after how many I just can't. This seems like a dream. In fact, we were talking with one of my friends, like, do you know, to receive the dream express home and away. You're the champions, and we do appreciate that. But of course, that is Kalunji. Amwere turn on the heat as, of course, breaststroke there in swimming. And Raptors welcomes for Messi. Man United set off to a big bang. And, of course, you remember also what happened to Arsenal. That's the discussion that we shall have later on. And I saw the message of the president of Rwanda. Very angry. Very, very angry.
If there are people who are patient, it is us Arsenal fans.
What Arsenal did was, in the true definition of Magogo's word, that was shitty. Yes, Robert.
Let me continue with sports in the new vision, where Sekafa winners, that is Mukwano Gwabanji Express, celebrate victory after being crowned, that is champions of the Kagame Cup. That was on Saturday. And pledges need a law. Yes, now people saying there's so much that the president has promised. Now we need a law to ensure this comes to life. But still so much. Ruben will be here to give you all the updates in the world of sports. Daily Nation.
Well, of course, the Daily Nation, Ruto tears into Uhuru's 2022 succession plan, and Afghan president flees as Taliban take over a capital. Now, puzzle of cheap fuel in Nakuru. Quite interesting there that the prices are very much unmatched with what's happening elsewhere. Now, in the papers, that's what we have for you. Don't forget, you can get yourself a copy of this if you want to look more into. Robert, you had a question about twins?
Yes, there's so much publicity being given to twins in this month. I want to get your opinion. Would you be a proud father of twins? Or would you desire to have twins?
I beg your pardon, Robert?
Would you desire to have twins?
Oh, yeah. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Well, the traffic lady will also get her response there. But I reserve my answer to myself.
Nalongo, Priscilla, Naroga.
Exactly.
Take us to town.
That has not been revealed to you by Fresh, but
hey,
breakfast.
By spirit.
I prophesy that upon life.
So no longer Priscilla is going to be taking you through traffic updates this morning. Did you know there's a place called Kulambiro and Bulambiro at the same time, almost in the same area code? And so we went to look at the traffic flow between Kulambiro, you have Chisasi and also Chigoa area codes, but also feeding into Gayaza Road and then coming back into town through Kawempe. We pick it up from the bypass here, and we do have a very interesting route here, the Kampala Northern Bypass that is supposed to be connecting through Chisasi and then continues to Nalia. There's been continuous construction that is going on, so you can see the signposts of men at work, meaning that where that signpost is where construction is currently ongoing, and it is affecting the flow of traffic around the Chisasi roundabout. Now, Chisasi roundabout does bring in traffic from the Ntinda people who go through Ntinda to access Chisasi and probably continue to Nalia, or even enter into the areas of Chisasi, Chanja, and then you end up maybe Bahai Temple and come back into the areas of Komamboga and the likes. Now, looking at this roundabout, the Chisasi roundabout this morning, you do have the route that is bringing in traffic from Tinda closed off right now, and so you'd have to find the alternative route that takes that traffic away from the roundabout there. But then you also get to see that on this other side there's a red zone into an orange zone, which shows you that the bypass, or the northern Kampala northern bypass traffic that is coming in all the way from Bulenga, it's coming in from Masaka Road. It's actually traffic that is being reflected here. They're trying to cross through possibly Bwegere and then to cross into the eastern part of Uganda without having to interact with the main trade routes on the other side. The other place that usually has some traffic here is Chisota Road that is entering Chisasi, Chanja Road, and then also traffic coming in from Kulambiro Ring Road. That always brings in jam here before the Chisasi roundabout. And as you can see, there's a long stretch of an orange zone for people coming in from Kurambiro, Chanja, using this as the alternative route because it's blocked to enter Ntinda using the Chisasi roundabout. They use Chisota Road to be able to enter, then go through Bukoto, but there are also some shortcuts in there that can then get you back to Ntinda. And so the orange zone here is for traffic that is trying to enter or access the city center. And also just there at where you do have the cross section here, that traffic is also building up because there's construction that is happening in this very same place and does affect the flow of jam. But Chisasi Chanja does look clear this morning. Around Sankara Supermarket is where you actually have a lot of jam that builds up because of the taxi stages on either side. Then you do have another cross section that brings in a lot of traffic, and this particular cross section is where you do have the Chisasi Trading Center. So for the trading center, you do have traffic coming in from Chanja, you do have traffic coming in from the areas of Kurambiro, and they're trying to access the city center through Chisasi. So at the trading center then, Chisasi town, you can see the orange zones. These are majorly residential areas, and there are new developing sites there, meaning that there's so many people that are moving in, young corporates are moving into that place, and that's definitely going to increase jam. As you can see, the orange zone that is coming in from the residential areas is of it might give you like about 30 minutes just to interact and cross out of the Chisasi town into elsewhere that you are going. Now that Chisasi route is definitely going to bring you all the way to what is known as the Bahai Road and interact with Ruth Gardens. Ruth Gardens is going to take you to Bukoto Chisasi, and then that way you are able to enter into the heart of the city. Looking at what traffic is looking like on the Chisasi Road, you get to see that for every junction interruption with a feeder road, you do have traffic that is coming in. You do have traffic that is coming in from Kirabo area, Bukoto apartments. You do have some traffic that is building up in that area towards Kabira Country Club. You also do have some traffic that is building up at the cross junction there with Maguru Close, and you get to see red and orange zones either way. So that is traffic for people trying to access the city center, but also for people coming from the city center and trying to head into either Bukoto or Ntinda or Chisasi for that matter. These come and interact with Kira Road, and you can see that on Kira Road there may not be so much jam, but because of these interactions here, you do have slowness of jam, and that is going to bring you a lot of challenge. We want to see back to Chanja. Chanja does find its way into a very interesting... Yes, we do have the Chanja Ring Road, which also encompasses residential areas, and then this traffic, it has some spots that have orange zones, but pretty much it's clear. Now the Chanja Chisasi Road does feed into Gayaza Kampala Road, and we want to see what's the fate of traffic picking it up from there. The Chisasi Chanja Road does come in Kumbuzi, and it interacts with what we call the Gayaza Road. That is where you would be seeing some traffic building up. Now, as that builds up, Gayaza Road brings you and leads you into Kawempe, and then those areas will definitely be giving you some signs of traffic all the way to what you would be calling the Kampala Northern Bypass interaction. Past Chanja, you get to see that we then get to step into the Kalere roundabout, which traffic is going to be loading anytime soon. But pretty much I had looked at it earlier, and it is a reflection of free and flowing jam. There's not so much that is appearing at 7:45. Perhaps people have already entered town, especially for people who come in from Kalere. They're so much of business oriented. They have to get into the city by 5 o'clock earliest, or even latest for that matter, because they're the ones who start the business of the city. They're the tea people who provide tea in the morning, cook food in the morning. They're the ones who work in the markets. They have to get perishables, set up their stalls, and get running for the day. So those are some of the traffic updates that you can consider in that direction. Molen Kenyana, good morning to you.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Priscilla.
How are you?
I am fine. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very fantastic.
Yes.
So we had a very interesting scenario happening in Western Uganda. Bursting of river banks continues to be a big conversation.
Yes. I think this is like the third time we are seeing more devastating floods coming in from the bursting of rivers, especially for River Nyamamba. I feel like this situation has been ongoing, especially whenever we have heavy rainfall within that area. And the effects have been really catastrophic, with people evacuating their homes, and also the death toll rising as these cases continue to come up over this area.
Okay, all right. Well, surely the Minister of Disaster Preparedness has a lot of work to do, reminding ourselves that COVID-19 is still real and it's definitely spreading fast. As Robert had indicated, the numbers seem to be rising yet again. And you can safeguard yourself, wear your mask, sanitize, ensure that you social distance even if you have to work in a public area, but make sure that you safeguard yourself. You protect yourself, you protect your family, you protect the country of Uganda. It is our sole responsibility through such a time as this. But Molen Kenyana taking you through weather, nature and climate, looking at the second half of August 2021 and what that looks like in terms of weather.
Yes, thank you very much, Priscilla, and a very good morning to you all. My name is Molen Kenyana. Well, this morning we are waking up to news of Tropical Storm Fred. Now, the picture that you're seeing behind me that is kind of playing around is the satellite image that we are getting from Tropical Cyclone Fred that is set to hit Florida. Now, this is one of the most forecasted scenarios within this area. Usually, as storms form, they are likely that they will turn into a hurricane, tropical cyclone, but we are looking at a Fred forecasted to make landfall today, which is Monday, across Florida. Now, the good news is that most of the people around Florida have been told about this, and they are in the know, so it might actually not cause a lot of effects unless people really stay in the way of this cyclone. Now, away from Florida, we do have also devastating news coming in from Haiti after a 7.2 magnitude earthquake hit this area. Now, Haiti is in the Caribbean, that is west of Dominican Republic, North America. Now, this area is also one of the poorest countries within this region. And after this devastating earthquake, a lot of structures were destroyed, and most people really left homeless. This picture is taken from one of the hotels over the island that did collapse after the earthquake. Now, there is more looking at more homes that were actually destroyed after this earthquake struck across Haiti, and also for more areas, that is search and rescue, trying to get people that died in this incident. Now, over 700 people have been actually reported dead. And as we're told 7 hours ago, I was reading a report saying that this number is likely to rise, according to the reports that I have from the residents over there, at least close to the epicenter, who are saying that there could have been more people around that area. So we are looking to see more numbers going up in terms of death toll around Haiti this morning. We'll continue to follow up that story. Now, we also have more extreme weather events that are going on across the world. Now, we've had mudslides in Japan also. Yesterday there were reports of more people dying after these mudslides. Now, that is one of the pictures from Japan showing a part of the area that had these mudslides. Now, also these were as a result of a heavy flooding that came in across that area, and that also destroyed bridges, destroyed homes. More is coming in, and Japan has actually had more reports of floods in the last 2 months. Well, it's not just in Japan. Even here in Kasese, we continue to see more effects of River Nyamamba bursting its banks after a heavy downpour. Now, this relates to something what we tried demonstrating here in our weather and nature segment. As rains continue over a certain area, it reaches a time where most of this soil holding the banks of the river are actually more watery and they can't hold in anymore, so they become weak. So as more rainfall comes and such a heavy downpour, obviously the banks are going to burst, and that's how we come up with most of this flooding across Kasese. Well, this is more than 3 times now in just 1 year, in just 2021, that we're seeing floods over this area, and this is now triggering more rivers that are actually connected to Nyamwamba. We saw also River Remi having the same effect. So this is something that has been a recurring scenario, and it's even unfortunate that we are still registering death in this area. My question is, why aren't people really gotten away out of this place? If we are forecasting that there's going to be rains in this area and you see these continuous scenarios, why are people still living within the hotspots of these landslide, I mean heavy floods? And by the way, it could also trigger mudslides across that area. So I think my appeal to the authorities over there is make sure these people vacate the place. We can't continue registering death after these extreme weather events. It's really unfortunate, but I'm sure there is a way to make sure where people are safe and also their property. And also we did talk about some time back how we can make sure at least we reinforce the river banks to make sure that most of these scenarios do not happen after heavy rainfall, just to at least ensure that the people staying close to the river are safe. Yes, this morning we also want to take a look at a satellite loop over Uganda coming in from Windy. You meet that satellite. What we're seeing over Uganda this morning is that most areas are having mostly cloudy conditions, and that is across most parts of the country. Actually, we do see some clouds that are starting to develop across parts of northern Uganda, that is across Gulu. We do also have clouds starting to develop across midwestern Uganda, central Lake Victoria Basin, that is where we have Kampala as well. So that is basically bringing us intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions, but we are also seeing clear skies with sunny conditions across the eastern part of the country, the Karamoja region, also for the western part of Lake Victoria, Masaka. We have Rengo here. That area should be having sunny conditions as we speak, and also across the central part of the country, mostly clear skies with sunny conditions, but we do expect, as these clouds continue to develop, to have some rainy systems developing. Basically, it is a pleasant morning across most areas within the country this morning. You really can't complain, I can tell you that. We'll go ahead and take a look at our forecast for different areas. And we start off with the central part of Lake Victoria, where we are forecasting isolated rain. Those will be over a few areas though, and temperatures are expected to be at 25 degrees centigrade. Quite a cool morning, but still pleasant weather, I can tell you that. Well, for central northern Uganda, where we have Adjumani, Gulu, Kitgum and Padel, we are forecasting those isolated rains as well. Just close to 20% of the area will be seeing these rains, starting off with a warm morning at 27 degrees centigrade. We do expect those rains to develop more in the afternoon across central north. Well, eastern parts of Lake Victoria, that is where we have Ruwero, we have Wobulenzi, we have Nakaseke, Nakasongola. In that category, we are forecasting also isolated showers, and those will still be over a few areas, with a warm morning forecast over there at 27 degrees centigrade. Now, eastern Uganda, where we have Soroti, we have Katakwi, we have Amuria, we have Kumi, still we are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, and temperatures will be at 27 degrees centigrade. Quite a warm morning starting off over that area. Well, looking at Mount Elgon Highlands, that is where we have, that is eastern Lake Victoria Basin, where we have Tororo, Jinja, Busia, Iganga. We're forecasting light rains, and temperatures are at a pleasant 26 degrees centigrade, quite similar to what we had yesterday over that area in the morning. For Mount Elgon Highlands, where we have Mbale, Bududa, Buko and Sironko, we are forecasting also light rains. Those will be mostly to the side of Mount Elgon, temperatures starting off at 25 degrees centigrade. Quite a chilly morning over there. Now, Western Uganda is southwestern. We do have Mbarara, Ibanda, Bushenyi, Rubirizi. We have Shema in that category as well. We are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine. It will be mostly sunny, but we'll see those intervals of cloudy conditions also starting off at a beautiful 26 degrees centigrade. We can expect more sunshine as the day progresses over that area. Well, the western side of Lake Victoria, that is where we have Masaka, we have Zimbabwe, we have Rakai. We are forecasting light rains. Those will be across a few areas, and temperatures are expected to be at 25. Quite a cold morning over there. Well, that is all we have in terms of our forecast. Now, this morning, we are asking you, continue to ask you to be part of the show, the weather and nature show. Now, what we're asking you to do is send us a picture of the sunrise in your area if you can't see the sun. And you know, sunrises and sunsets are one of the most beautiful things, according to me. But we want you to be part of the show and send us a sunrise picture from your area. If you can't see the sun, then probably maybe it's raining in your area. It will be nice to also for you to share that, the weather that is happening in your area, and we'll be streaming it here in Weather and Nature segment. Well, my name is Molin Kenyana. I do have Priscilla also going through some of your comments that are coming through. Priscilla, what do you have for us this morning?
Well, you've asked for the sun, and we are being sent a picture of the sun's rays. This picture is coming in from Bukoto and by Senoga Davis, pitch side view of the sun, and there it is in its glory, the sun waking us up into a bright new day. Bukoto pitch side view is what he has sent us. So please do send us a picture of the sunrise where you are this morning, and we would love to see how beautiful our country is gifted. After all, there's that word that says Uganda Zabu. We do have some responses though in the conversation that we were having earlier. Good morning, Robert. I'm Stephen Kagera from Bwegere. The problem with our enforcement institutions is their training. These people are trained military where torture is accepted, and in that way no human rights are respected. Okay, yeah, because of the kind nature of institutions, in some of them human rights are not really respected. I thank our president for coming out to stop this behavior that has soiled our international image. If our president seriously stops this behavior, then Uganda will be a better place to live in, and it won't be a land for torture. Well, thank you so much. We also do have a message here from someone who sent us a selfie. I believe that is his version of the sun, and this is Kawezi Pauls watching from Nachifuma, Nagalama Town Council in Mukono, sending regards to Sharon, Vivian, Peter, Andrew, Joanne, and Shirat. Thanks for the informative show. Well, thank you so much, Pauls, for watching Good Morning Uganda. Now the news is done and dusted. Good Morning Uganda agenda coming up with Robert Kirabo. He's hosting the spokesperson for the judiciary, and that is Jameson Karemani, coming in to answer the report that came out to state the judiciary is one of the highly corrupted entities in this country, but also to answer the case of 150 cases. How many months or even years later shall we have justice served, and to whom is justice served? We continue that dialogue in the 8 o'clock hour. Stay tuned.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by
Tulantende ku program obulamu bwo.
was brought to you by.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Ginger Tea drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Welcome to English in a Minute. If you have ever been in love, you know it can affect you in many ways. Sometimes you can't even eat or sleep.
Okay, yesterday I had dinner with Josh and his new girlfriend.
What did you think?
She is really rude. She actually yelled at the waiter in the restaurant for bringing her the wrong dish. Josh just does not see how unpleasant she is.
I guess it's true. Love is blind.
Love is a very powerful feeling. When we are in love, sometimes we do not think clearly or see clearly. So, when we are in love with someone, we may refuse to see anything bad about that person. We are, in some ways, blind to their faults. And that's English in a Minute.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go. MTN.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
Informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome back from Weather and Nature as we ensure that you start your day well versed with what the weather is likely to be and you prepare yourself to suit whatever situation may come your way, either with a raincoat, an umbrella, or even having on light clothes because of the continuous heat in our country when it's not raining. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Once again, I'm Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono. One of our mandate of this morning show is to ensure that you're alive with what is happening in our country. Now today, the 16th of August, is a big day because it marks the beginning of hearing petitions that resulted from the elections we concluded. The Judiciary has set a team of 32 judges that are going to be listening to 155 petitions. 104 of these are at parliamentary level. Then the 49 the balance that is at local level. Now with me to discuss this is the spokesperson of the Judiciary, Jamson Karimani, with me here, and we'll be looking at more to understand what really happens, what is going to happen, how prepared, these and more. You're most welcome, Karimani, to our studios.
Thank you very much, and good morning, our viewers. Yes, 16th of August has come. I know many have waited for it for some time, but it is here, and as Judiciary, we have done all that it takes to make sure that we are ready. As I speak now, across the country, the judges are approaching courts from wherever they slept, ready to begin hearing of these petitions. So during this week, we shall see the judges trying to interact with the petitioners and the respondents. They will also be interacting with the lawyers trying to chart a way on how they should well manage these petitions. They have Saturdays from some of them from today, because it depends on when you set the hearing date. Today is not yet a hearing date because they have not summoned the parties to start the hearing of the real petition. So most of them will set the dates this week and they start off. The law gives them Saturdays within which to have completed the hearing of the petition, much as the law gives them a room within which they can extend the time depending on the circumstances. But it is Saturdays that are standard for each petition, and we just hope that everything will go well and they will accomplish this in the Saturdays.
To begin with, yes, you've talked about what is going to be happening today, but many times we know that justice delayed is justice denied. We've seen election petitions prolonged until the time or the term of a member of parliament or that particular political office has expired. We have the likes of Honorable Katoru Wama. We've seen yet some rushed or justice delivered. We saw the likes when it came to Singi Katongole. We saw what happened in Chadondo East. So where do we find justice in these? It seems it's a long process, yet for presidential, there's a time frame, and we know he's not even sworn in unless this court battle has been dealt with.
Thank you very much. Like you have said, the presidential, it is set, and that is contained within the law. So the law is what we follow. With the presidential, it gives the timelines, and once the timelines have cropped, no more time is given. Now, the parliamentary, like any other case, there are several, there is no standard to say that each petition will now be 5 days and it must be handled within the 5 days. It all depends on the dynamics in each case. Some petitions have more witnesses, others have few. Some petitions have more respondents than the other, which means more time. So there are several factors that may lead to a petition prolonging. You have cited one of Honorable Katoru Wama. When you go into deep of that petition, you will find some of the reasons why it delayed was because of incessant applications. The judge is set to hear, like today he sets a date to hear the petition, and one of the parties makes a certain application which he has to first handle before he goes to the main petition. Now, when he handles that application, the dissatisfied party appeals, and the appeal is in respect of the application, not the main petition. So that means he appeals to the Court of Appeal. Now, the Court of Appeal must also prepare to handle that appeal which has been filed. Once they finish it, then they go back to the petition itself now. The petition is heard. Once it is finished, there is an appeal again. So that process leads to such delays which you are talking about. And sometimes they may take longer, and the party who went to parliament might. Sometimes you have seen them serve even the term and complete it. But what I have to assure Ugandans is that as an institution, we have also been studying all those dynamics. We have been probing the reasons as to why some of the petitions take long in court. And I can assure you that we have come up with measures which we are sure will now help us again to ensure there is no delay as it has been in the past. So we want to assure Ugandans that we shall see these petitions disposed in the High Court in time. If there are any appeals that will go to the Court of Appeal, to assure you that they will also be disposed in the record time. Yeah.
We're going to wait for that, because we know we have crafty people, and when it comes to legal tactics in terms of sustaining one stay in Parliament, then that is one area that I believe they have mastered very well. Now, the other question is, one wonders, whose justice are we seeking here? Is it for the voters who scorched the sun or endeavored the rainfall? Is it for the party that goes to court? There are instances where we've seen, for example, when Robert Kyagulanyi come on to scene, he was neither one of the contestants But of course, in a by-election emerges from nowhere and takes over. Now, in whose quest is this justice?
Now, in elections, the Ugandans all participate. They are the ones who go to vote, and they expect that the right person they have voted should be the one to lead them. So when there is dissatisfaction, we take it that the satisfaction is for the people who feel had voted a person, and the person maybe is not the person who was declared to have gone through. So I can say that these petitions, first and foremost, are for the Ugandans who participated in the elections, because they expect to be led by the person whom they voted. So we are also alive of that. And as we handle these petitions, we know they touch not only the petitioners and the respondents, but they are for all the Ugandans who participated in the elections. So those are the main people that we look at in the petitions.
How prepared is the judiciary to deliver justice in these petitions? You have about 155 petitions, then you have 32 judges.
Yeah, we have, of course, we have been preparing even before the elections were held. Like it has been the trend, we knew there could be some petitions that may be filed. So we started preparing all along. Now the petitions were filed. Now we zeroed in into how many are they and how can we manage them. And that is when we had to draw the budget and see how to dispose of them. Now we have found ourselves with 32 judges who are available to get involved in the hearing of these petitions. They are 32, the petitions are 155. The distribution of judges has been according to the number of petitions registered in each region. If we cited the highest being in Mbale, where we have 31 petitions, as I said, today we shall see 6 judges in Mbale, because when we do the distribution, an average will be around 6 petitions, 5 per judge. And given the time that they were given, we do feel that they will be able to handle these petitions in time. They also have prepared, they know what they are going to handle, each one knows how many, so they will be able to dispose these petitions in the time that is given.
I love the word "be able" in the time that is given, because this is where Ugandans are eager to know. Yes. You know, one of the things that disturbs is a member of parliament may be finally being removed out of parliament with 1 year left, with just a couple of months left. I think that befits then the meaning of justice to Ugandans. But also let's look at the cost of justice. We spent a lot of money in the just concluded elections. Now we are talking of justice at a cost of 1.2 billion Uganda shillings. Should justice be this very expensive?
I wouldn't say that it is even expensive compared to what comes out. People have gotten involved in the elections. Democracy is not something that you just pick and go. When you look at the distribution of that money, which you are saying is a bit high, I can assure you, when I give you the breakdown of the nitty-gritties, you will say that is very little even. Now, take an example of a judge who has moved from his home. He's going to spend the rest of the time, let it be 1 month, outside his home. But the amount of money that we are paying him is 170 per night. That is the government rate. The government rate is what we are giving him. Now, when you move around, you must have and look at the best hotels. The cheapest best hotel here, you can charge $100. That is 370,000. Now, we are giving him 170 per night. That is what we are giving him, plus the fuel which will take him to wherever he's going, then plus the other entourage, who include the driver and his bodyguard. The rest of the people he is going to work with are found at the station. We are adopting those who are already there, because we already have a setup of court. So it would have been more expensive if we were telling him to move with the whole staff that he works with. So he's only moving with only 3 people. His research assistant, the bodyguard, and the driver. And each one is given per diem, what we call, what others call night allowance, at the government rate. The judge, the government rate is 170,000. A driver is paid 55,000 per night. Talk of a bodyguard, the bodyguard will be given 70,000 per night, and then the research assistant is 110,000. Then you multiply by the number of days that these people are going to stay there. Now, when you look at,
are they going to come for the entire 30 days?
Now, like, it depends on how the person works. There are those who will be quicker and try to ensure that they finish in a time. There are those who will work for the whole entire days. So it's now entirely in their management of the case. It's upon them to see how to manage, and especially now that they know they have been given a little money, you have to reduce on the number of days, because some of them, we have given them 170. You will go to a place and you find the suitable hotel you can sleep in is 200. You have no choice. So you have to see how to fit in within the money that you have been paid. So when you look at those breakdowns, do you still have the argument that it is a lot of money?
If I am to do my quick mathematics, I'll still... well, justice is justice.
Justice is justice.
Justice is justice.
Yes.
I just remind our viewers that you can be part of this show by simply sending in your message through our WhatsApp number, which is 070-960-2592. Please give us your name and where you are sending the message from on the number 0709-60-2592. That is the number on your screen. It is our WhatsApp line, but please keep that precise and brief as we continue looking at court, the petitions that are coming through, and of course the hearing it is beginning today. Karimali, maybe just to throw more light, when we talk about these petitions, the hearing kicking off today, Ugandans, this is what they're waiting for. So and so, let me use a case in point here. One of the members, because it's general knowledge that have petitions. Maybe Mokasa Alozius, Rubaga South, retains all court has chosen that, based on evidence provided, this person is losing their seat in parliament. How soon can this be? Because at the end of the day, when you look at this initial stage, it seems more of maybe another spending avenue, despite being one of the processes of court.
Now, of course, we have the petitioners, like you have said, who have filed the petitions against the respondents. I can pick an example here in Kampala. We have Chidandala, Honorable Chidandala against Honorable Segirinya in Kawempe. So those are I've just picked those parties as an example. Now, the court is going to hear the evidence. The one who brought the petition must present evidence to show what he's complaining about. Then if he puts his evidence across, then the other respondent will also have a response. In terms of evidence, it is evidence we are looking at. Now, after that, of course, the judges, the lawyers of the parties will also be given an opportunity to summarize what they have presented in terms of evidence. You summarize it to the judge, and even show why you should be the one to be believed. At the end of the day now, the judge will retreat and write his judgment, either by agreeing with the person who petitioned, which would mean that the one who is in parliament gets out, or by agreeing with the respondent and saying he was properly elected and he remains in parliament. Now, once he declares that, if he has declared that the seat should fall vacant, that communication is made to the Electoral Commission, which is supposed to put it into effect. But what we have to be reminded of is that, again, the law gives an opportunity to the losing party to appeal once. the losing party has an opportunity to appeal once, and that is the Court of Appeal. Now, if he prefers to appeal, like many do, the appellate court has to prepare and also dispose this petition. No, not until that petition has been disposed from the Court of Appeal, the seat is still occupied by the person who had gone through. So we have got to wait, and when the Court of Appeal decides is now when we take the position of either they have confirmed that the person gets out of the seat, or they have confirmed him to continue in the seat, and that marks the end. So the process does not end in the High Court. It still has an opportunity to, the person has an opportunity to appeal and wait for the outcome from the appellate court. Yeah.
Well, at this point also want to look at, there is a belief by the public, and we've seen this in a number of court petitions related to elections, where they believe that, one, there's an element of corruption in these petitions. Second, that sometimes the judiciary is not independent in the decisions it takes. That maybe those that are so much in line or give the patronage to the authorities that be are left to extend their stay in parliament, even maybe when there is valid evidence implicating them and therefore recommending to declare that seat vacant, they'll still be in parliament. I need to get your take on this.
Now, like you have called it, is a belief. And you can wrongly believe, or you can rightly believe. Now, if one argues that there are some forces which tend to...
They're not independent when delivering judgment here. If someone maybe is an NRM member of parliament,
yes,
and a darling somewhere, that yes, facts could be indicated this person should be out of parliament, but judiciary will find techniques and whatever to extend the stay of this person in parliament.
Now, if that was the case, then we would never see any candidate of the opposition being retained in parliament. We have several constituencies where this has happened. Take an example of, we can talk of Ginger East, where Honorable Paul Omuiru has been. That constituency has come up several times in courts, in petitions, and several times we have seen the opposition party come out successful. So how come that seat is retained by the opposition and there is no interference? So I think that argument can't be believed, because we have examples where we have seen the opposition candidates retain seats vis-a-vis the NRM. So each case is handled according to the evidence, but of course there will always be excuses from various parties who lose, that I have lost because of ABCD, but that argument can't be sustained.
Then also the element of corruption on that yes, the judges may not be partial enough, they may be bribed and then pass judgment. Of course, these are not only applied to election petitions, but there's also that general assumption. Some even say that poor do not win cases in Uganda.
I want to assure Ugandans that they should prepare the evidence and remove the excuses of corruption, because our judges are beyond that. They are beyond that, and there will not be such a thing to happen. That's why we actually had to keep switching our judges from one place to another, so that we avoid what we would call kamanyiro. What we would call kamanyiro, that's familiarization. Because the judge has been in this area, sometimes, you know, he has appeared at a function where there is a LC5 chairman, where the MP is, and now people will believe that since they have been attending a function together here, then they know each other. There will be that kind of thinking that he cannot remove that person from the seat. But now what we have done is that we have got a judge from Kabale who is going to Arua. He will do his business. He doesn't know anyone there. He will just do his work and he goes away. So that business of claiming that there will be bribery is not right, and it will not be there. So just produce your evidence. Rest assured that the judges we'll decide according to the evidence that will be presented.
Now let me just read a few of messages from our viewers. I'll begin with that is Perfect in Kakumiro. Agaba, good morning, Uganda. I'm Agaba Perfect in Kakumiro, district aspiring candidate, that is 2026. Courts of Uganda, through their spokesperson, talk good and hopeful words, but the problem is on actions. Actions are quite different from words being spoken by the spokesperson of the judiciary. Would you want to, let's just take that.
My response would be that yes, you may have that belief, but believe me, you give us the time we have talked about, and you will come here and I will give accountability that yes, what we promised, we have delivered it in the time that we told you. So just have that belief that we shall do it.
Okay, then we have another message. Truly, this is just a shaming. It is not a wastage of government funds and time. For example, these guys already got money for cars, been paid retainers. Will they return all after losing in court? Whose foots for all the government expenses on this? But please give us your name and where you are sending this message from. He views this as a wastage of time. Just an opportunity to get money.
So is he suggesting that we do away with the petitions and retain those who are already there? Is that the best option? Definitely no. We must come to the conclusion and know who did win that election. That is the ultimate goal. That is the ultimate goal. Yes, they have received some facilitation, but also bearing in mind that as they receive the facilitation, they are also working. Whoever will come will not start from the first goal, will start from where the parliament has reached. So that facilitation right now they are working, there's some work they are already doing. So you can't say they are being facilitated to do nothing. They are working. Much as they may be thrown out later, the other person will start from wherever they have reached. But they are still working for whatever they are receiving right now.
I know, Karimani, as the judiciary, you do not make laws, but maybe to some level you do advise. How best can we ensure that, first and foremost, reduce these petitions, but also this issue of ensuring that at least people maybe not take oath unless they are cleared? Is there any way that the judiciary can push for this? Because this is where the public is mostly concerned.
Now, you have put it very well that the judiciary does not make laws, but in some cases, the judges have made observations and recommended in some petitions, and these recommendations have gone a long way to be incorporated into the laws. So now there is that concern that people first receive facilitation, first do what, and then later we hear the petitions. Yes, that can be looked into, and it can also be recommended, but mind you, the people you are recommending to change it are the people who are the beneficiaries.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest, because you are saying they should not take oath. Now you are going to recommend it to them to change it, and some of them will be the victims of the same. So you can see the uphill task that you have. But as courts, in some cases we have made recommendations where we feel there should be an adjustment, and in some areas they have been changed to comply with that. So some of those views can be picked. Some of those views can be picked, and they can be considered, and some of them some have pertinent. They have some pertinent reasons. Yeah.
Well, in the interest of time, I know you're having a very busy day today. Let's have your final remarks to Ugandans and maybe the petitioners here regarding the hearing that is commencing today.
Now, the message that I have for Uganda is that yes, today marks the beginning of the hearing of these petitions, but different courts are going to have different styles of managing these petitions. Some have already called the parties to come today. Others are calling them tomorrow. Others will be calling them during the course of the week. So my advice to you is that just keep in touch with your lawyer if you have one, because they will be communicating through some lawyers, others will communicate directly to you. So you just wait for them to inform you when you should appear at court. We are trying to avoid crowds by people just walking in without being given the time that they are supposed to come at courts. So we have started today, but the whole week will be a week of appearances of different parties, and I'm sure each court is going to manage these petitions in a different style. So wait for your time. They will invite you when to appear, and then you can now participate and present your evidence.
Well, I want to thank you so much. That is Jameson Karemari, who is the spokesperson of the judiciary, for having found time to be with us despite a busy schedule today. But also there's a message here that I want to end with, which is judiciary truly are doing wonders in Uganda despite the challenges encountered. Jameson and team, you deserve credit. That is from Salim. Justice delayed is justice denied. We hope and pray that these petitions will be expedited so that justice is delivered. Let's all support this process. If you're a witness, please stand up and witness. So because that is the only way we shall have speed in ensuring that justice is delivered, and of course, the voter is not denied or robbed of their victory or would-be winner of these elections. Have a lovely day. I'll leave you with Ruben to take you through the world of sports, and then Jagen Asemakwa, who will be here to take you through Good Morning Uganda Extra. See you tomorrow, same time, God willing. Stay safe.